If you are here because you were questioning, welcome. You are safe. Hi, I'm Amy. I've been identifying as bisexual for 6 years.
Oh, I don't know how long.
Hi. You don't have to put a time frame. I'm just doing that since I'm questioning.
Okay. Hi, I'm Grace. I am a lesbian. Have been for 23 years.
We are drinking and we are going to read the Lesbian Master Doc.
Cheers.
Oh, actually, cheers?
Yeah, cheers.
Cool.
Cheers.
Okay, background if you don't know what the lesbian document is.
I don't know what the lesbian document is.
It is a Google Doc. I have no idea who made it, but it's getting passed around the internet as a way to identify whether or not you are gay. And it's not like the end-all be-all, of course, but I think a lot of people have genuinely found it very helpful.
Was this someone like senior sim?
I have no idea. I literally do not know where this came from. Like, I assume this person wants us to be reading it because we have access, and like the link is just like view only for anyone who clicks it. So like the person must know. But yeah, it's just floating around the internet. If anybody knows actually who made it, put it in the comments. I'm really curious. Okay, so our first section is compulsory heterosexuality.
Oh, we're
what
jumping
is it?
Right into this.
Oh, we're jumping straight in.
Okay.
Compulsory is the opposite of optional. Compulsory heterosexuality is exactly what it sounds like. Being straight is something our culture tries to force on us. It affects people of every gender, but it's mostly been studied as something that affects women. This is because compulsory heterosexuality easily ties in with the misogyny that causes women's sexualities and even identities to be defined by our relationships with men. So compulsory heterosexuality is built into you from the moment you're born in this time and place, and it takes a long time to dismantle it. If you're questioning if you're a lesbian, it's way more important to ask yourself if you can be truthfully happy with a man than if you're attracted to them. Ask yourself if you can have a healthy, fulfilling relationships with men and actually want to be with them. It's already coming for me. You can be attracted to men or not know if you are because of compulsory heterosexuality, and it doesn't mean you want to be with them. Attraction is supposed to feel good. If being in relationships with men isn't appealing to you, if you can't truly see yourself ending up happy in relationships with men, or if your attraction to men makes you uncomfortable, you may be a lesbian. I feel like this starts ranging into that territory where, like, people have told me if I'm sure I never want to be with a man that I can't identify as bisexual anymore.
I don't think that's true.
Because my argument with that, and why I haven't just like straight up changed like identities yet, is because if I still think I'm attracted to men, then I'm still attracted to more than one gender. So I'm bisexual. Right. But people have told me, like, I think if you would never consider a future with a man, and you know for sure you're going to marry a woman, then you're just a lesbian.
No, because sexuality is...
That's very like...
Sexuality is your actual attraction to people. And that can be physical or romantic and like mixture of the two depending on who you are.
Yeah, and I think what this is saying is the kind of like, it's a way to dismantle if you're actually attracted to men or if you just see yourself having to be with them because of society. But it also starts to bridge on like my feelings just because of like the wording. Yeah, but it's really weird.
The way I see it is that sexuality is actually just very simple, like, who are you attracted to, not whether or not you can see yourself with them.
Many lesbians still struggle with compulsory heterosexuality even when they know they don't want men. If you love women but feel fake about it, just remember that those feelings are the product of a patriarchal society which has conditioned you to believe the false idea that you are defined by your ties to men. If you can see yourself dating the same sex, you're not straight, and also if you can see yourself sleeping with the same sex, you're not straight. You're not straight. Both make you not straight.
Yes.
And I think that too, like, okay, we're not gonna say names, you're gonna know who I'm talking about though.
Oh boy.
I ended a relationship with somebody, well, a friendship with somebody, over them saying that women who would not consider marrying another woman but are attracted to women shouldn't identify as bisexual. Okay, but I like fictional male celebrities. How do I feel like this is going to come for me so hard?
Straight for you. This is gonna come not straight for you.
Yeah. Lesbians are allowed to like male celebrities and fictional characters.
That's not true. I hate all men celebrities. I'm just kidding.
Okay, so lesbians are allowed to like male celebrities and fictional characters. It's usually a symptom of compulsory heterosexuality. Male celebrities' fictional characters are completely unobtainable crushes, and thus it allows the lesbian in question to distance themselves from men. It's not fair that straight women can have girl crushes and straight men can have man crushes without anyone telling them that they can't be or aren't straight anymore, so the reverse should not be applied to lesbians. Yeah.
I kind of like that, because back to the whole League Westway thing, that was actually one of I don't want to say it's one of the first moments, because it's not. That was several years after I'd come out. But, like, that was kind of, like, this really nice moment where I was, like, falling into watching that YouTube channel, and I was like, I am 100% gay because I adore him and have, and know for a fact that, like, it's not a crush, even, like, an unattainable crush that I'm trying to, like, compensate with or anything like that. It was just this really nice moment of, like, oh.
But I think I've liked men before, question mark?
Here we go.
You can identify as a lesbian if you've liked men in the past, but no longer are attracted to men or want to pursue relationships with them.
Right.
Lots of lesbians have dated or had genuine relationships with men before realizing they were lesbians.
Heyo!
And that doesn't make them any less of a lesbian.
If you're watching this, I'm sorry, we're still friends.
Many lesbians have previously liked men at some point in their lives before realizing they are lesbians. Now, a common misconception is also that everyone is born knowing they are gay, and that's not necessarily true. It can be because of both nature and nurture.
Okay, hold on. Who is born knowing that they're gay? Name one.
Many lesbians were unsure of how they felt about men until they identified as lesbians. This helped them realize how much of what they felt for men was actually compulsory heterosexuality over time. Lesbian doesn't need to mean only experiences attraction to women. It can mean only
Thank
feel
you for also
comfortable.
hissing at that, because I felt bad for a second, but, like, that's not true.
It only feels comfortable, only prefers and only prioritizes women and relationships with them. I think, though, that came after talking about, like, up here, where it talked about, like, having bad experiences. And I know that that's, like, such a stereotype that, like, oh, something traumatic happened to you with a man, like, you were, like, you know, assaulted or something, so that's why you're a lesbian now. But it is true occasionally. And I think that is to, like, say it's okay if that's your case, but taken out of the context of that previous bit, I don't like it.
I think the whole, you know, this helps them realize what they felt for men was actually compulsory heterosexuality. That's really good. But if you feel attraction towards men, then you can be a lesbian, that's inherently not true.
It's weird because it's like a slippery slope between, slippery slope is my new buzzword, between, like, gatekeeping, but also, like, not letting bisexual women say they're lesbians.
Yeah, but because holding a definition
really
is not
weird.
gatekeeping.
Right. Like,
And the definition of lesbian is being only attracted to women. I would never tell you how you identify. You're questioning, figuring stuff out. And, like, I think that's the whole thing, too. You have to give people room to figure stuff out. But if you 100% know that you're attracted to men and are bisexual, then there would be a very stark difference between you and me, in that I know I will never ever be attracted to a man. Even if both of us know that we would never date a man.
Like, it gets so into semantics.
Yeah.
Like, I understand your side where you're like, this is my experience. I don't want somebody else to be able to, like, have a totally different experience, but then still say they're the same as me. Like, yeah, and, like, that makes sense too.
It. There's a lot of bisexual women, we know a few, who call themselves lesbians, and that always twigs me a little bit, because I'm like, but you're not.
Many lesbians have found out this way that their attraction to men was in fact compulsory heterosexuality.
And see, that's fine. And I think that's
It's a stepping stone.
It's the difference. It's the difference in whether or not you're questioning or whether or not you know you're attracted to men, but you're just going to call yourself a lesbian anyway.
But then you start running into the, like, how long can you be on that stepping stone of figuring out your compulsory heterosexuality and using lesbian before you, like, can't use it anymore because it's untrue if you haven't figured it out. Like, I just don't know.
And I feel like that's where you get into gatekeeping. Because, like,
Yes.
you can question for your whole goddamn life if you need to. You got that space. You got that time.
Yeah, because that's the really hard thing. It's like some people are just genuinely going to be unable to figure it out.
Yeah. Because it's hard. Compulsory heterosexuality is hard.
Attraction is super complicated is the next sentence. It's impossible to recognize a man is attractive but not be attracted to him. I think that's half my problem. Attraction is often coerced by societal conditioning, and some lesbians have hypothetical attraction to men due to compulsory heterosexuality. But we don't want to actually date or have sex with a man ever. Allowing people to identify based on where they are willing to put their romantic and sexual energy is more powerful and gives people agency.
Runs into the same thing, I think.
But I think that's still based on, like, if the flip side is only compulsory heterosexuality.
Yeah.
Conflicting feelings about men. You can really genuinely have warm, positive, strong feelings towards men, and they can still be compulsory heterosexuality. Compulsory heterosexuality is the assumption that any feelings that you have towards a man must be attraction, because society talks all the time about hetero love and attraction. So when you feel something towards a man, you think, oh, this must be what it's like.
Okay.
What realization are you having right now?
I'm not having a realization. I'm just really, really hating some people who were in my high school. That's all.
Because I had a friend who tried to tell me every single time I mentioned a guy that I had a crush on him. And that's how I basically ended up sort of dating a guy for like a week on accident. What a fucking mess. But like everybody told me I had a crush on him, but I was like, we're friends, and then it turned out he had a crush on me, and then we were like dating, but we never talked about it, and it was just like such a mess, and half of that was because people kept telling me I had to have feelings for him. Then, as a part of discovering your sexuality, you try to find ways that you find men attractive. You think, I'm not attracted to physical appearance, only personalities, or I only like feminine men. When you have a chance to have a romantic sexual relationship with a man, you assume that it's some broken part of you that's stopping you, or some quirk of your personality, or circumstance of your life. But another important thing to question is, have I correctly labeled and understood what this feeling is, and am I certain that it's actually attraction? So like, those last like 2 inches really called me out. Society puts so much emphasis on the importance and intensity of heterosexual love and attraction that it's important to actively remind yourself that it's possible to love someone and have a deep interest in them without having romantic or sexual feelings towards them. Okay, so I have this weird thing where there's multiple men where I have thought I had crushes on them and then just come to the realization that I enjoy talking to them. Signs of compulsory heterosexuality is our next
Are
section.
we still on compulsory heterosexuality? Is all of this compulsory heterosexuality?
I mean, it's kind of ingrained into everything.
Okay.
If you relate to or identify with a lot of these things, I'd say it's worth an investigation into why so many of these things resonate with you. Is it because you have a specific taste in men, or because society has conditioned you to want this? Is it because you have bad experiences with men related to trauma, or because these kinds of desires have been ingrained into you? And then there's
Like, never have I ever.
a list. Honestly, do you want to?
Should we?
Yeah, let's
Okay,
do it.
Okay.
Put up to your 10 fingers. Wait, so we're putting them down if it applies to us?
Sure.
Okay.
We'll see which one goes out first.
Okay. Deciding which guys to be attracted to, not to date, but to be attracted to, based on how well they match a mental list of attractive qualities. I've had a list, but I have let people check off all of the list, which are the 2 men that I have attempted to date in the last 6 years of my life. I'm constantly testing my attraction to men. I pick 1 or more conventionally attractive men in the room and try to force myself to be attracted to them. Actually, I'm gonna count that as every boy I had a crush on in grade school, because I always picked the most attractive boy in the class. I like the idea of being with a man, but anytime a man makes a move on me, I get incredibly uncomfortable. I do not like the reality of men, only the idea of being with men. Okay, but my fingers are cramping, so I'm switching to these 2. Okay. I can fantasize about men and find men attractive, but think about realistically being with a man makes my stomach churn. Literally made myself nauseous yesterday thinking about this too much. Only developing attraction to a guy after a female friend expresses attraction to him. Interesting, because I don't relate to that one at all. So like your friend would be like, oh, that guy's attractive, and then you'd be like, ooh, he is? Mm-hmm. Because it was like now you knew what the heterosexual standard was?
Yes, I had a friend who we would sit and gossip in the back church pew together. And we would always talk about crushes. And I remember being so anxious at times because I was like, I don't know who I'm supposed to be crushing on. Like, literally had the thought
who
of,
I'm supposed to be. That's so gay. Hey, Grace, no offense, that's really gay. Okay, I like getting attention from men and being validated in my attractiveness, but the moment it goes from attention to an interaction, i.e. from flirting to asking out, I start panicking. Getting jealous of a specific female friend's relationship with guys and assuming you must be attracted to the guy she's with, even if you really never noticed them before she was interested in them. We're putting fingers down for completely different ones, which I think is super interesting.
Yeah.
You view relationships with men as a chore, burden, or just something you must deal with. Kind of. My feminism doesn't let me, but like I feel like I have been at that point.
Yeah. That was towards the end of. I don't know if it's as much a lesbian thing as it was like towards the end of like my one relationship in high school. I was like, well, obviously we're in a relationship and I'm attracted to him, so.
You get crushes on just about every guy you're friendly with because there's really no difference between friendship and crushes to you. Oh boy!
Yep. Junior year high school, hey!
You feel like you could theoretically be attracted to men. You may even have fantasies about them, but in practice you never feel any feelings for them. I feel like that's like half a finger for me. You're far more certain about being attracted to women than you are about being attracted to men. I mean, right now, yeah.
Oh, we went out at the same time.
Oh, second set of 10. Only mostly being into guys who are gender non-conforming or feminine in some way. Alternatively, the guys I like are always a hyper-masculine man's man who embodies everything about manliness.
Even if I was straight. No. Just no.
I'm such a feminist. Like, it's so unappealing to me.
Stinson.
I'm sorry, buddy. Only mostly being attracted to unattainable, disinterested, or fictional guys, or guys you never or rarely interact with, such as teachers, married or older men, and men that live far away. I feel like the fact that I do like fan over so many celebrity men would count.
Yeah.
Because even though, like, I love Harry Styles, but I don't want to date Harry Styles. But then I feel like my other celebrities I like blog about would count for that.
Yeah, I would say so.
Similar to only crushing on famous or fictional men, the men you like may be gay or in relationships, as they are also unattainable. If they are in a relationship, you may even start to wonder if it's actually the woman you have a crush on. You lose all attraction or get extremely uncomfortable if there are any implications that they might like you back. You get deeply uncomfortable and lose all interest in these unattainable guys if they ever indicate they might reciprocate.
Yep.
Literally got into a 6-month relationship because I told myself that I wasn't going to self-sabotage again.
And that's really interesting because, you know, like back in high school, I always thought that was like a me thing, and it was a I don't want a relationship right now thing, and like realizing that, or like an anxiety thing. So I've never actually up until now thought of that as a sexuality thing.
You mistake the desire for male approval as attraction. You don't necessarily want a relationship with men, but you want men to want a relationship with you. Yes, because it sadly gives women value in this world.
Thanks, patriarchy.
Reading your anxiety, discomfort, nervousness, combativeness around men is attraction to them. Confusing your anxiety around men for butterflies or being flustered.
I never did that. I think I was always just enough of a feminist to be like, no.
I think that might apply to me, and I didn't realize until this moment. Reading a desire to be attractive to men as attraction to them.
I feel like that also falls into the, like, choosing someone to be attracted to.
I feel like I gotta think about that one. Like, we don't have time to unpack all that.
Do I need to spend less brain power on this?
You wish you weren't attracted to men. You wish you were a lesbian. Oh, I'm gonna put like a half finger down right now. That's been my life for like 3 months.
Yeah.
All right, we are onto a list that now says relationships with men. Are we doing it again for this one?
You want to?
We can,
Okay.
yeah. Dreading what feels like an inevitable domestic future with a man, or looking forward to an idealized version of it that resembles literally no male-female relationship you've ever seen in your life, never being able to picture any man you've actually met in that image. Ooh, I'm gonna put a finger down.
I don't even fully understand that. Hold on.
You're queering your male-female relationship future without realizing that's what you're doing.
Okay.
You have every reason to be happy in your relationship with a man, but you just aren't. Everything is going really well, but something is missing and you can't figure out what.
Ew.
Being repulsed by the dynamics of most all real-life male-female relationships you've ever seen, and or regularly feeling like maybe it works for them, but I never want my relationship to be like that.
That is a feminist thing as much as it is a lesbian thing.
It's such a feminist thing too, yeah, because it's like you look at relationships and you're like, what fucking heterosexual nonsense is that? Where they just are that couple that like loves to hate each other.
Yeah, which is a sad thing that is what we immediately think of, rather than I never want to be in a straight relationship, which is what this is probably aimed towards. But
yeah,
hey,
exactly.
That's the world we live in.
Thinking you're commitment phobic because no relationship, no matter how great the guy, feels quite right, and you drag your feet when it comes to escalate it. Commitment phobic. Going along with escalation because it seems like the appropriate time, or because the guy wants it so bad, even if you personally aren't quite ready to say I love you or have labels or move in together, etc. Ooh, I think I'm gonna put a finger down for that one.
Yeah, you definitely could.
Your relationships with men are devoid of passion. I feel like I don't have a point of comparison since I've only dated men, so I don't really know.
Oh, that's true.
Because it's like, am I gonna date a woman at some point and be like, oh, this is what being in love is like? And like, I've never known. Feel like you have to have relationships with guys and or let them get serious in order to prove something, maybe something nebulous you can't identify.
Fucking...
I don't understand that one at all.
Really? Like, you don't understand what it's saying, or have never felt that?
It's like, it so doesn't relate to me that I like don't totally get it.
I was straight up relieved whenever I first realized I had a crush on a guy in high school, because it meant I was not gay.
Getting a boyfriend mostly so other people know you have a boyfriend and not really being interested in him romantically, sexually. That just made me have a thought, but I don't know for sure. Because, like, when I dated my high school boyfriend, the volleyball team that I was playing with at my club at that time used to tease me by saying that I was going to be the gay one because if, like, if there's a group of 10, one of you has to be gay, and they picked me because we were a team of 9, so it just made sense that one of us had to be gay statistically, and they picked me, and it was definitely a form of bullying. Like, they didn't really believe it, I don't think, but they definitely did that, and I got into a relationship with a guy while I was on that team. Because I never consciously thought that, but it is kind of coincidental that the first time I was bullied for being gay, well, and only time I've been bullied for being gay, was when I got into my first relationship with a guy.
I feel like if it's not, like,
pinpointable, it's probably not true.
well, if you weren't thinking about it at the time and you've never thought about it before, it's probably not true. It could be.
Because, like, subconsciously I could have, like, rushed into something, but who knows.
Wishing your boyfriend was more like your female friends. Throwback to sitting in the Baptist Church youth shed with my boyfriend on this side and one of my female friends on this side, and him holding my hand and she holding my hand jokingly to make fun of us, and me preferring one, and it was not my boyfriend.
Wishing your boyfriend was less interested in romance and or sex with you and that you could just hang out as pals. Boop. Thinking you're really in love with a guy, but being able to get over him in such record time that you pretend to be more affected than you are so your friends don't think you're heartless. After a breakup, missing having a boyfriend more than you miss the specific guy you were with.
I plunged into a deep depression right after my breakup, so I don't think that's a fair...
I mean, same with my first relationship. Worrying that you're broken inside and unable to really love anyone. Woo, boy.
Hey-o. I will fucking drink to that.
I'm gonna drink to that and then get a refill. Do you want a refill? Yeah.
We're on to sex and intimacy with mom, which I feel like is a category I'll probably just cut out of the video entirely, but I want to talk about. Being around guys that are interested in me gives me intense anxiety. Fuck you! Feeling weird, wrong, calling your past boyfriends pet names or showing them PDA, but gladly showing your girlfriends PDA. Fucking hate PDA. Maybe I won't when I date a girl.
Am I gonna have a realization by the end of this? Only by the end? Is it gonna take until the end? I don't know.
Okay, we have early interest in women. Not recognizing past, current crushes on women until you've come to grips with your attraction to women.
Okay.
Having had strong and abiding feelings of admiration for a specific female teacher, actor, etc. growing up that were deep and reverent.
So I'm out with one hand.
Having had an unusually close relationship with a female friend growing up that was different and specific in a way you couldn't articulate. Mine isn't really growing up, but she's been the reason I've put all my other fingers down so far. Thinking relationships would be simpler if only I were attracted to women. My best friend who would be perfect for me if she/I weren't a girl.
Okay, see, I think it's funny because I never did that because I had my whole, like, I'm gonna unpack that later and not even look at the fact that I might be gay. But I've had multiple people, like, girls, tell me that we're friends that were like, wow, if only, like, we could just date and it would be easier.
Being utterly fascinated by any lesbians you know, see and meet it, and thinking they're ultra cool people. I mean, always been true.
Yeah.
Feeling weirdly guilty and uncomfortable in locker rooms, etc. when your female friends are less clothed than they normally would be around men, and being more careful not to look than they are.
Volleyball was so much fun, wasn't it?
Yeah. The straight version of you.
I don't want to meet her. I don't know her. I don't know her.
She doesn't even go here.
She doesn't even go here.
Thinking that all straight girls feel at least some attraction to women. I've literally said the sentence, everybody would have somebody of the same gender that they'd go for if they were the right person, and having somebody have to call me out and be like, no?
I never thought that, like, by the time I thought that it was common/normal for people to feel same-sex attraction, I was questioning my sexuality.
Interesting. That was how I started, was actually someone making that comment back at me. That was how I started questioning my sexuality.
I know that.
Thinking that you're interested in seeing attractive women, scantily clad women, boobs is an artificial reaction caused by the objectification of women in media. It's fine. Mosby, are you doing good? Being really into women, how women look aesthetically, just as an artistic interest. Think it's objective and uncontested that almost all women are way more attractive than most men. Being a really intense LGBTQ plus ally and getting weirdly emotional about homophobia, but assuming you're just a really good ally and very empathetic. Having like half your friend group from high school turn out to be LGBTQ. Can we count our college friend group? We all started out straight, and then everybody was gay by, what, like halfway through sophomore year?
Yep.
Getting emotional or having a strong reaction you don't understand to female-female love stories, etc.
Didn't know anyone. Well,
Yeah, I didn't witness any until after I was already, like, questioning / like,
I
confident.
take that back. I was obsessed with fried green tomatoes and the color purple when I was younger, without fully understanding why.
I literally don't think I ever saw a female-female relationship in media.
And that is a huge part of the problem. Like had I watched like Fun Home or something like that in high school, oh boy.
Having had people think you were gay when you had no suspicion you were gay.
Do I count the volleyball team that bullied me? Okay.
Exploring attraction to women is our next category. I feel like the Jeopardy guy. And this category is...
Yes.
I will take exploring attraction to women for 500.
Feeling like you could live with a woman in a romantic way even if you can't imagine doing anything sexual with a woman.
With the women? Well, men.
Interacting with het sex romance in media by imagining yourself in the man's position or just never rarely imagining yourself in the woman's position. Seeing a relationship between two women elicits a much stronger and more real emotional reaction than het relationships ever do. You get anxiety around men and feel more comfortable in settings with women.
100%.
Who doesn't? Again, with the feminist point as much as the gay point.
Being mistaken for a couple with one of your girlfriends is exciting for you, and being mistaken for a couple with one of your guy friends elicits no reaction or feels weird or wrong. I don't remember how many fingers I had up, but I'm just going to keep putting them down so that, like, the camera
I don't think
knows.
I've ever been mistaken for a couple with a guy.
None of your girlfriend's partners are ever good enough for them, and you take it very personally, and you don't feel the same way about the men you're friends with. Grace, I called you out!
That, again, is a feminist thing as much as anything else.
Alright, considering lesbianism.
Considering.
Wanting to be a lesbian, but feeling like if you don't already know, you are or can't be. You think or fear that you might be a lesbian, and you'll find yourself somewhat constantly, desperately trying to prove to yourself that you're not.
Sorry, what now?
Wishing you were a lesbian to escape the discomfort of dating men.
Dramatic finger drop.
Worrying that some of your past attraction to men was actually real, so you can't be a lesbian.
I've lost count of how many things I think I'm.
I had, all things considered, for the fact that from like at least 6th grade on, I was deep in denial about my sexuality. I had a very easy transition once I realized I was not straight.
I think we were at wishing you were a lesbian to escape the discomfort.
I never wished I was a lesbian until I realized what I was one.
I feel like that's like a lack of like education exposure kind of
Yes,
thing.
that
Yeah.
is.
Wow, editing this is gonna be really fun for sober Amy. You imagine a hypothetical future where you end up with a man and it makes you feel uncomfortable, scared, sad, disappointed, wrong. It's an upsetting thing to think about and you hope it doesn't happen. You don't want to end up with a man even if you feel like you could. We don't have time to unpack that. Actual attraction, when you fantasize about men, is because you're attracted to their bodies.
Wow, who knew?
Men are okay in theory, but terrible in practice. You feel like you could live with a woman in a romantic way even if you can't imagine doing anything sexual with a woman. Yes.
Are we gonna have snaps for this? Snaps for everything.
Snaps for them all.
Yeah.
You lose interest in a man as soon as they seem interested in you.
Very common. In bold.
You dislike being attracted to men in general.
I mean, yeah.
You only notice the attractiveness of a man when someone else points it out. You think it's objective and uncontested that all women are way more attractive than most men.
Isn't it though? Isn't it though?
You're only attracted to fictional men, celebrities, or men that are completely unattainable.
Completely.
Very common.
You think your interest in seeing attractive women stems from the sexualization and objectification of women in media. That one is like really true for me. I don't know how you feel about that one. You think men attracted to women over-exaggerate their attraction to men, and you can't comprehend finding a man as attractive as they do. Okay. I feel like I could write poetry about men and women's bodies. I could write a shit ton more poetry about women's bodies though. Like the men's bodies I would write about would all be like men who fit the absolute mold of what attractiveness is supposed to be, and they're celebrities so they're completely unattainable, are the kind of men I could write like poetry about. But I feel like I could write like poetry about like half the women I know. You dread the idea of a future with a man. Bingo! Men expressing their attraction to men is more relatable than women expressing their attraction for men. There's something specific about same gender attraction that any form of it is just more relatable than different gender attraction. So many like not straight women do write / enjoy MLM fan fiction.
Yeah, the idea that you're you're attracted to an LGBT friendly space and you're attracted to dismantling compulsive heterosexuality.
You go through past memories trying to prove your attraction to men, but I had a boyfriend when I was 13. You think you're attracted to men but just don't want to date them. I low-key feel like that applies to me right now. Most of your experiences with men were men being attracted to you and you sort of going along with it. Well, you know what? Imagine if we turned this into a drinking game where we had to drink every time one of these applied.
I'd be a lot more tipsy than I am.
Yeah. You think attraction is just not being disgusted by a man. You date men because it's what you're supposed to do and stay with them because you can't find a good reason to break up. Ooh, I feel like I was really looking for reasons to break up when wanting a reason should have been a reason in and of itself.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're kind of tipsy now.
I hope that was entertaining. I'm gonna think about things too much. Below are all the links to our social media. Let's have a good discussion in the comments if there's people who actually watch this. I'd love to talk.